So, there's a great quote that says, a lack of boundaries invites a lack of respect. And sometimes it's not an issue of inviting disrespect, but it can create a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of unfortunate situations, and circumstances that could have been avoided if we just would have talked to each other and set proper boundaries from the beginning. Now, some people have a tendency, might be you, I don't know, but some people have a tendency of assuming that other individuals should know this is a boundary, should know this would be a problem. They should know better. They're a grown man. But the reality is that common sense isn't always so common. And people are raised differently, taught differently, exposed to different things. So they don't always register what will be a problem for you. And that's why it's so important to communicate what those boundaries are when you're dating a man. Now, I did a different video about boundaries to establish while in a relationship, but we got some boundaries we need to set when you're just dating, hoping or hopefully progressing towards a relationship. All right. So let's get to it. One of the boundaries you need to set, and this is really a boundary you need to first set with yourself, but you'll communicate with him as well, is how long you're willing to date without commitment. Now, I know this can be touchy for some people because they feel like, well, you can't put a time limit on these things, or a lot of women get antsy and feel uncomfortable having that conversation of asking, what are we doing? Where do I stand? Where are we going with this? Things of that nature, okay? And I understand it. However, it's the fear of having that conversation that gets a lot of women caught up in situations they either do not belong in or pretty much don't belong in, and letting it linger way longer than it should. And let's be real, the longer you remain in something, the harder it can get to break free from it. But let's start with the fact that you have to set this boundary with yourself first. As a woman, you got to be real with yourself. How much time, and not just time, how much interaction, the type of interaction, the type of investment overall can you give without becoming so attached that you're going to struggle to break free from this man if he's not for you? It's important to understand where that line is, because again, a lot of women, in hoping things are going to progress and hoping, even if things aren't looking amazingly well, hoping things get better or things feel good, even though in the back of your head you're like, I don't really think he's it, but it feels so good, or maybe he's treating you better than other people have treated you. There's so many various reasons why a woman may try to keep giving it a chance or keep it pushing, even though no commitment is being given, right? Maybe you don't want to be alone. Maybe you enjoy the company, whatever. The point is, it gets to a point then where now you as a woman cross a line that it becomes so much more difficult to break free. And what could have been a 3-month or 6-month situation turns into 2 years, turns into 5 years, turns into pregnancies. All right. For some people, it can turn into a marriage, but usually a miserable one. Well, let me not say usually a miserable one, but if it's involving a man that deep inside you know is not for you, then yes, it is going to pretty much be a miserable one. So either way, it's about understanding that boundary for yourself so that you don't get too caught up. And notice I said investment. So it's not simply about, oh, I've been talking to him for 3-6 months. It's how much have you interacted in that time? It's what are you giving in that time? So for some women, that line that if they cross it, they become very attached or struggle to walk away might be financial investment. All right. I've seen situations where woman is dating a man for a few months. They're still not committed to each other. And again, she's enjoying him and maybe she's well off, or she has resources. He falls on a hard time, asks to lend money. She lends it. He's not paying it back. And now her battle to walk away is not only whatever else is going on with her, because it's usually more than one thing. But now it's, I want my money. Like, I'm not letting this man just play me and not give me my money back. And now that becomes another unhealthy attachment. But then also going beyond understanding what your line is and where you have to recognize what's going to be a struggle for you, I do think there needs to be some kind of communication with this man at some point of what you're going to deem as like, we can't be doing this talking, dating phase forever. Like, what are we doing here? We're either going to progress to more or we're not. Because unfortunately, when you don't communicate these things, when you don't let it be known that you're not going to just stick around forever waiting for him to make up his mind, where you're going to end up possibly dealing with a guy who will take advantage of that, dealing with a guy who will drag things along. And yes, the guy may like you, right? But that doesn't mean he's prepared to commit to you and give you what you need. And if he's unwilling to do that, you've got to recognize, all right, we can't go any further. And even if he says, well, I'm really into you, but I'm just not sure yet, or, I have fear of commitment. Okay, I'm not saying the man's lying in some situations. There are scenarios where men lack healing, fear commitment, genuinely do like the woman, genuinely do care about the woman, but they have a blockage that's getting in the way. But that's not for you to have to deal with and entertain. For you, it's simply, okay, I get that, I respect that, but he can't expect you to stick around, continue to pour into him, continue to show up fully in this dating experience when he has an issue he has not overcome. If anything, all right, you got to let him know. Go do your thing. Go get some therapy. Go get some coaching. Heal. Address it. And then if you find yourself ready to now be able to embrace more, we can have that conversation. But until then, you go your way, I go mine. So either way, setting that boundary of how long you are willing to date without commitment, as well as how much you can invest without feeling like you're going to get too attached to a man in a dating situation. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. So, there's a great quote that says, a lack of boundaries invites a lack of respect. And sometimes it's not an issue of inviting disrespect, but it can create a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of